Hey, yo, 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 yo! It's time to start the show! What do I gotta do? Music! Okay, is it rap? No, not the kind of music I would play. We're broadcasting from, where are we? Oh, yeah, this station, WDWL TV, and they got like 2 stars, I don't know what the hell, and this wacky thing up here in the corner, I'm the guest host, Bro Grumpy. That's me, Bro Grumpy. I don't know how the hell I got this gig. I guess I'm supposed to put these on. Okay. I don't know if I can hear them through my hair. Which way do they go? Oh, like this? Okay, here I am. Bro Grumpy. So, how's everybody out there we're at the TV land, I guess. Yeah, TV land. Do we get this program in the hood? A talking bird? Holy shit. Oh, I was supposed to say, he has something to do with the show. They didn't give me no script. I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Do we have we have an audience. How's everybody out there in audience land? Yo. Yo, yo, yo. I can't do this shit anymore. This goddamn thing itches like hell. Ugh, that's better. I mainly bought that thing to show how stupid these idiots look today. I mean, there was a guy in the store this afternoon that literally looked like this. I wanted to tie him in knots. I just don't understand this generation. I really don't. How does the new microphone sound? I did a quick sound check. I was running behind because I couldn't get the stupid wig untangled. Maybe I'll wear that thing for Halloween. Be my luck, there'd be a drive-by and I'd be the innocent victim. I'll tell you what. I can't wait to do the playback. Because I mean, everything I have read on this microphone, it gets a 5-star rating. And I mean, I even went on PC Magazine, and those guys are like Consumer Reports, and they're really critical when they do testing, and they gave this thing 4.8 out of 5 stars. So I can't wait to hear the playback in the morning. Not to mention, it looks like something out of the 50s. Like something you would see sitting on a desk in front of Walter Cronkite or Chet Huntley, David Brinkley, Johnny Carson. Yeah, when I opened the box, Kathy, I almost fell out of the chair. I was like, oh my God, finally a mic that looks like a true retro microphone. And I'll tell you what, this thing is heavy. I had to use the mount that I wanted to use. I put the mic on it and it went. I had to look back in the cabinet and find a heavy-duty mount for it. I originally had it this way. And I was like, no, the design of the mic needs to be straight up and down the proper way. Like I say, I was screwing around with a wig. I did a real quick sound check. But, you know, when I'm doing the sound check, it's just what's coming through the headset. I have no idea how it sounds on your end. Now I'm looking at the my audio. I have a constant audio level, and it has yet to go into the red, because once it goes into the red, it's overmodulated. So I was impressed with the outcome of the game last night. How did we do tonight? Since we're in the championship, I'll call it the championship, the tourniquet. But they're still in the tournament, though, right? What is it, like best 5 out of 6 or best 5 out of 7? How does the I can't remember basically how school tournaments run. I mean, like World Series, it's what, best 5 out of 7. But every school system has their own rules, regulations. So basically, right now they're like what, 1-0. Oh, okay. They better win the next one. How many teams are in the tournament? Or is it basically like one school against the other? The top finishers. I've been out of school so long I can't remember any of that shit. Holy shit, really? Wow. Talk about pressure. But the loss today will kind of infuriate them kids. Because they'll be sitting there going, how did we lose this? And then they'll reform their game strategy, and the next game they're going to go in so fired up. I would love to watch. Especially to see them young kids playing their heart out, you know. It's got to be a cool thing to watch. That's why I like watching like college football over the NFL. Because I'll tell you what, those college players, they give 120%. Because every player is hoping for an NFL spotter to pick them out. Not to mention, NFL football rules have gotten so goofy. I haven't watched an NFL game. Well, shit. When did Modell sell the Browns? That finished me. That 3-year blackout without a football team in Cleveland ruined me. You know, any college sport, whether it be college football, basketball, hockey, you know, those kids just literally bust ass to give 110% every single game. Do you have a voice left from yelling and yelling from the stands? Did you like my sign? You know, dumbass me. This is the third day in a row I've got that goddamn note to send you those door flasher site from Temu, and I forgot all about it. I got to tape it up on the monitor. I have to tape it up on the monitor. Because it's right here. Oh my God. You know, I think every playing field from grade school to middle school to high school should have a huge sign like that at the entrance. Because I have seen, as a matter of fact, when my son was it softball? Yeah, he was playing softball. How old was he? It was grade school softball. And some of them parents would go ballistic. They would be screaming at the umpire. You know, the umpire would call a strike. And they'd be screaming. You know, what do you mean strike? Although we never had any parents come out of the stands, but there were some that were close. Yeah, because they can't read, Kathy. They would look at that sign and go, "Oh, that's for somebody else, not for us." But there's a lot of truth in that sign. Especially with there's no college scouts or something like that, you know. Oh, really? You know, the kids handle it way better than the adults. They really do. They just get out there and play their heart out. And if they lose, you don't see crying and kids throwing a fit. I'm sure that they line up and then shake hands after the game. The kids should, you know, are the ones that are teaching the adults sportsmanship. Because they lose in stride, they win in stride. The winning team doesn't rub it in to the losing team. They're all there to play a game. Plain and simple. They're all there to play a game. Oh my God. He should have been escorted off the premises by law enforcement. Law enforcement should have been there and escorted him out and basically make a spectacle out of him. Not to mention, I'm sure he embarrassed the shit out of his kid. Because I could guarantee all the kids were going, whose father is that? And the poor kid's like, I don't know the guy. Never saw him before in my life. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to make an adjustment. Now this microphone is like a Blue Yeti. It actually has 4 heads inside of it, where all my other mics have 1. And I think the adjustment's on the back. I want to try something. All right. Does it sound any different with the adjustment I just made? I've noticed in my headset already. Because I went from 1 microphone head to 2, which puts this mic into what they call stereo mode. Does it sound better in stereo mode, or does it sound worse? Rudy's saying it's better. I'm pretty sure that might be front and back. That's front and back. All right, I'm going to go one more. All right, that is putting it into what they call tight stereo. Now, does this sound better or worse? Because basically the last adjustment was front and back. This adjustment is now twin heads in the front. So this, number 3, was better than number 2. Because I'm going to try to get this set and leave it. So whichever one sounds better, I'm going to lock those settings in. So all I have to do is turn the mic on every night. So 3 is better than 2. Good. All right. All right, just for grins, we're going to go to setting 4. All right, how does setting 4 sound over setting 3? Should I go back to 3 or leave it at 4? Three is better than 2. Is 4 better than 3, or should I go back to 3? Because I would like to. 3 is better. All right, we're going to go back to 3. All right. We're back to setting 3. Because when I log off tonight, I'm going to lock the settings in. And then basically all I got to do at night is just turn it on, and I don't have to worry about it being screwed up. It actually sounds better in the headset, too. All right, we're going to leave it at 3, and I'll lock the settings in. I'll tell you what, I just like the look of this thing. It really looks professional. I love it. And I love it even more because it was free. But yeah, in anticipation of it arriving today, I did a lot of reading on this because AKG makes one that's a step down from this one. And it's only got 2 heads. It don't have 4. And every website that I read, like, PC Magazine and Audiophile something Inc., they all rated this from 4.8 to 5 stars for podcasts. They say this is one of the best microphones if you're doing a podcast or a YouTube. They say this is the mic you want. And my buddy's son out in Burbank said every person that recorded with this mic fell in love with it. Matter of fact, they wanted, can we take this home? Yeah, no. But I appreciate him thinking of me. He does tune in. I told him, get in the chat and say hi. He's like, no, I just like to listen in the background. He says he pops in 3-4 times a week. And he loves the Cleveland background. Mainly because he is from Cleveland. Matter of fact, he asked me, he goes, where did you get those stars? I said, Temu. He said, you're kidding me. Because these look like the replicas that they give the stars when they unveil their star in the Walk of Fame. He said it looks just like this. Well, the printing is different, but because he wants to order some for gag gifts for his employees. Because I told him, I said, you put anything on it. I got TV on one and I got film on the other. They've got for audio and he couldn't believe when I said Temu. Because he's under the impression that Temu's a bunch of crap. Because, the people got burned on Wish. Have the opinion that Temu is like Wish. And I told him, I said, oh, no. I said, I've only got one item that I was very disappointed in. Temu gave me an instant refund and told me to keep the item. Don't bother sending it back. But I'll tell you what, I'm addicted to that. That's where the dreadlock wig came from, and the grumpy stern. And tomorrow I promise, Kathy, to send you the door flasher link. Oh, God, I can't find the notes sitting right here on the desk. It will be taped to the top of the monitor when I close down tonight. So I've been telling you, well, I'm going to send it. Oh, rock, boy. I'll tell you what, I got burned by so much shit that I ordered from. I quit ordering from Wish. And when my buddy's wife mentioned Temu, I was like, oh, another Chinese junk store. And she went, oh no. And I mean, I've ordered the sirens for the cars and the speakers, which are the same exact quality as what law enforcement uses. I've ordered all my LED fog lamps, my bumper bars, I mean, my flashing lights for inside the car to make it look like an undercover vehicle. I even got a really high quality CB antenna. I couldn't believe it because I wanted a shorter one. And they had one with an amplified loading coil, and I was like, And I'll tell you what, same antenna that you would buy at a truck stop or an electronics store. You know, back in the day, we used to have CB stores. Man, the money that I spent in them places. Yeah, you know, it's over in Studio One. Remember I told you the bass broke? And I bitched to the company and they sent me a whole brand new bass. I put the bass on the chair and it's sitting in Studio One with a bunch of shit stacked on it. I don't know why I don't bring it back over. I love that thing. Especially with the feature where I could tilt it back and put the footrest out and take a little nappy. I think I need to work on getting it back over here. It's got microphones and cables, and I just took everything because I'm redoing that studio and stacked it on the chair. And I shouldn't have done that because now I have to unstack it. I'll get it over here. I miss it, mainly because it had that headrest on it. And it had the lumbar support. Not to mention it's green. Now that I got from Walmart. And I'll tell you what, I keep telling people, go to Walmart online. Don't go to the store. Go to walmart.com And the deals are unbelievable. I got now they sell that in the store. It was like in the store $189. I got it Walmart.com for $122 and free shipping. No, the chair wasn't a Temu. That's one of the few items I haven't bought off of Temu. That was a Walmart. And I'll tell you what, you go to Walmart.com and the selection of gaming chairs is unbelievable. There was one, I was tempted to buy it. The major problem is it had a big round base, no wheels. But the chair, you plug it in to your computer, and the chair has got like 12 speakers. So if you're a gamer, you're getting the game sounds out of 12 speakers that are built into the chair. Not to mention the chair changed colors. It had several LED lines in it. I was tempted to order it, but without wheels, it's for a kid that's going to be sitting in front of a goddamn computer for 20 some hours straight. It just had a round base. But I was tempted because it was half price. It was like $89. And then I was sitting here figuring, how would I put wheels on it? And I was like, eh. A lot of you can't see them, but these lights are on swing arm mounts. Like this one here, I can swing it out of the way or bring it back in for whatever the best lighting is. I got all the swing arm mounts off of Temu for half of what I would have paid if I bought them from a studio supply store, or even if I'd have bought them off of eBay. Oh yeah, Temu, I've been talk about addicted. That light came off of Temu. That light came off of Temu. And this light here is adjustable. I could make it way brighter. The problem is the brighter it gets, it blows everything away and you can't read it. But this light, I can fold it up and I would have 4 lights in a row, or I can angle them different ways. I could straighten it out. Yeah, this thing's adjustable. And it's multicolored. It's got probably 25, 30 different lighting features in it. I think I paid like $16. Like I say, I'm addicted to damn, and I got them pop bulbs, the tap lights. I got these handy dandy flashlights, magnetic base. These were 2 for $6. Rechargeable, magnets on them. I love them. I've got 4 of these. I got one in the shit box. I've got one of these in the Passat. I have one here in the studio, and I've got one in my bedroom. I love them. Like I say, they were 2 for $6. I think everywhere I look in the studio, there's a Temu light. There's something Temu. And I'll tell you what. I will continue to buy off of them until I get burned. And like I say, I got burned on one item, and I wrote customer service. The only thing that pisses me off is you have to take a picture. So, I got to drag the old DSLR camera out, take a picture, upload it into my pictures, then upload it into the complaint form. That's the only thing that irritates me. But like the last item, what the hell did I order? It was some kind of LED light. It wouldn't charge. No matter what, I plugged it in to 3 different chargers. It wouldn't charge. It was dead on arrival. I took a picture of it. I sent the complaint form in. And I got instant refund. And Temu works one of 2 ways. Either the money goes back into your account, which takes 3 to 5 days, which is no big deal. I don't care. Or you get an instant credit. Well, they know what they're doing with the instant credit, because then Grumpy goes, oh, okay, I got $10 coming. The item I'm looking at is $20. It's only going to cost me $10. Okay. And I immediately spend the instant credit. Really? Time out. I got to write on Kathy's note. I keep forgetting to turn on the computer. Although the other day, there was a little news thing on AOL News. And it showed her, she was tending to the egg. So she laid a second one. I'll be damned. Hang on while I make a note. Turn on Fabi website in AM. There. Yeah, I keep forgetting to turn the computer on. Now, I haven't been paying attention. Is she planting her ass on them eggs and not taking a little flyby? And if she does take off, does Shadow come down and put his ass on the eggs? Because she was like a first-time mom. I couldn't believe it. She laid them eggs and then left. Of course, she learned her lesson. The goddamn ravens. And so far, the weather hasn't been too bad. You know, the last time when she laid that third egg, there was such a time span that the third chick was kind of weaker than the other two. And then that sudden snowstorm hit. And I don't know how she managed not to get all three of them chicks tucked in underneath her. But he ended up freezing. But, you know, when I saw when they returned to the nest, the beginning of nesting season, there's a pretty, they call it a bowl. It's amazing how deep that nest goes underneath her. Good. They're acting like true parents. Yeah, I don't, as a matter of fact, the, what the hell do they call ornithologist? Is that the study of birds? Ornithology? I think so. They interviewed, was he at UCLA? One of the professors at one of the universities out there in California. Even he commented, he said, they acted like brand new parents with those eggs. And he could not believe that the two of them, like, abandoned that nest with the eggs in it. And, of course, they learned their lesson. But it's good to see they're being very diligent parents. Because we have to keep the bald eagle population increasing. But it's nice to know that she laid a second egg, and they're being very diligent parents. Because them ravens are just waiting for a nest to be birdless. If you want to use that term, birdless, parentless. Then, like Jackie and Shadow learned, it soon became eggless. I don't know why I didn't get, well, when the eggs got destroyed, I kind of gave up. Because I wasn't sure if she was going to lay another batch of eggs. Because I've got it saved in my favorites on YouTube. All I got to do is turn the computer on and click YouTube and click favorites and bang. I've got the live camera right there. on my 19-inch my 19-inch Coffe TV / monitor that I got from Marianne because she didn't want it. Her son bought it for her because she wanted another monitor. And of course, she didn't want a 19-inch. She wanted a bigger one. And I told her, I said, Marianne, take it back, get the money, buy a bigger monitor. She went, no, here. Box wasn't even opened. I was like, cool, I'll use it. Have you heard from our unsubscribed person, Kathy? Are you still getting your stupid morning emails? I haven't heard a peep since. And I know he's lurking in the background, maybe not every night. Because I bet he can't resist, because it was a nightly thing. You neither, huh? Okay, well. Like I said, if he's, if you're listening, you break my heart. It's a true sign of immaturity. It really is. Although he was acting like a little girl. And especially somebody that's gone through multiple surgeries. What does he do when the doctor puts an x-ray up? Oh, no. Where's the bathroom? Blah! God, even a little girl would have acted more mature. So he felt insulted. And he left. I'm not brokenhearted. He was very generous. I appreciate the background. I've thanked him many times. I've thanked him for the shirts. But to be this age and act like a little girl, like they say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And he got out of the kitchen, left the house, left the neighborhood. Although I am a little curious about the house. I would have liked to seen the house. But you see one house, boy, I'll tell you what. You talk about a shocker. He's I would say late 60s, early 70s. By looking at his picture, he sent me a couple pictures of himself with his dog and his cat. He's retired. So, 65 to 70. Although to be this age and to take on a mortgage is scary. And talk about scary. My buddy Jim's house sold in a week. And the house needs a lot of updating. Needs plumbing throughout the whole house. Needs the electrical box updated. Not to mention the basement's wall-to-wall school shit. Sold in a week for $123,000. I did a triple take. The only problem is, it's bought by a corporation, which says one of two things. It's either going to be a flipper, or it's going to be a slum landlord. It was not bought by an individual party or a husband and wife. And I tried looking the corporation up and I couldn't find it. So it's either going to be a flip or it's going to be a slum landlord. Now there are workmen in the house daily. 3 different pickup trucks pull in. I would like to get a look in the basement. Because according to Rob, there's a couple, well, more than a couple, beautiful teachers' desks. And I would love to get one and make my ideal console for Studio One. Because what I've got over there now isn't big enough. And I've got enough room to put one of them nice desks, and not to mention I could use the drawers for storage of microphones and cables and wires and everything else. So I've been keeping an eye. I'm expecting a dumpster to show up one day. And if it does, I'm going to say, hey, can I have one of them desks? Because you know damn right well, there ain't nobody that's going to be interested. There's no used furniture store that's going to be interested in all that old school crap. Old school desks and chairs and books and what have you. If it had something to do with a school, Jim crammed it in his basement. No, that's somebody totally different. This is basically the house that I bought the Passat from. And he sold the Porsche. He sold the Toyota Venza. He sold one of the Harleys. The other one he's keeping for himself. And I'm still wheeling and dealing on the Corvette. That's over at the other house. They haven't even done anything with that one yet. Although I would like to get in the backyard and take a look at the Dodge Dakota pickup that's back there. Because I need a pickup. And the shit box ain't going to last too much longer. But I can't remember. You know, I've never seen a Dodge Dakota with a manual. Although I know Jim liked his manuals. Because the Porsche was a manual. The Passat was a manual. The Venza, that automatic. I'm pretty sure the Corvette's a manual. If the Dakota's a manual, I could be interested, depending on. Believe me, that one. Oh, between the Corvette and the Dakota, I'm going to go over that thing from top to bottom. Because I've spent a fortune on that Passat. Although, I really like driving that car. It's kind of, for me, it's kind of a bitch to get in and out of. Because it sits low to the ground. And when I get in, I basically have to get in, grab the handhold, get one leg in, and get the other leg in, and then get the door shut. Although it does have extremely comfortable seats. Because the amazing thing is it's got an adjustable lumbar support in the seat. And then the seat raises or lowers. And then it tilts. I've got it adjusted just right. But it is a bitch getting in and out of. Actually, it's harder to get out of than get in. Thank God it's got that hand holder that grab bar right above my head. But basically what I have to do, I have to swing the door all the way open. As far as it'll go so I can get my foot out. Oh, there ain't no test driving that Dodge Dakota. It's been sitting in for 6 years in the backyard. The only thing that scares me about that is probably got rotten brake lines. Because either way, both vehicles, before I do anything, they're going to need tires, especially that Corvette. It's been sitting for 5 years on 4 flats. I don't think it's that new, Kathy. I think that Dakota is probably a 90s vintage truck. I haven't been able to get a real good look at it because across the front of the driveway is a locked gate. And it's too high for me to crawl over, for one, plus I wouldn't want to get arrested for two. And then on the other side, the neighbor has a stockade fence. Right at it comes almost up to the edge of Jim's house, so I can't even go in the neighbor's yard to get a look at it. I could just barely see it because I couldn't make out what it was. And when I asked Jim's son, he said, "Oh, that's an old Dakota." But he don't know what's wrong with it. Same thing with the Corvette. He don't know what's wrong with it. Because at the time, he wasn't speaking to Jim. He can't tell anybody anything about any of the vehicles because they were all purchased without his knowledge. But the Dakota is got to be like a 90s vintage. But as much as I need a pickup, I really want the Corvette. I don't need to buy 2 money pits. I got 1 now. And I anticipate the Corvette being a money pit. Because it's not a cherry. But I just want it because I've always wanted to own one. Plus, it's a convertible. Oh. I could get me one of those old man hot rodders hats, the one with the slouch brow. Drive around with the top down. Everybody'd say, "Look at the old man with a piece of shit Corvette." I'd say, well, at least it's a Corvette. Because I already told Bill, I ain't restoring that car. It's got delaminated paint. I said, to me, it's just going to be a grocery getter. A backup. That's all it's going to be, a backup. Not something that's going to be a daily driver. Because it'll basically end up being a summer car. Because them things handle like shit in the winter. Because you rarely see somebody driving a Corvette in the winter. Now, there's a guy a couple of streets over. He's got It's a mid-90s. It's all black. And that's his only car. So he drives it year-round. But, basically, GM never designed that car to be driven in the winter. Now, the new C8s, the brand new mid-engine ones, they engineered that car to be driven 365 days a year in any climate. But the early Corvettes were never designed to be driven in the winter. And GM admitted it. Because they were like, collector cars. Or, somebody owns 2 or 3 or 4 cars and the Corvette was their little summer drive around little toy. And I've talked to people that own them. And they say they are a bitch to drive in the winter. But with me, I'm all, I'm 5 blocks from Mark's. I'm 10 blocks from Save-A-Lot. It's all city streets, back roads like. So I wouldn't mind taking a chance. But very rarely do you see. Now, there is a guy right up the street that's got a new C8. And he drives it all the time. Because I saw it a couple weeks ago in the snow. But your average Corvette owner never drove them cars in the winter. Never. They were always garaged. Because they're a real bitch to handle in the snow, not to mention they're really expensive to repair. Because I already told Bill, I says, we're not talking no, restorable piece here. Not to mention it's a plain Jane. It's not a Z8 or a Z71. It's got the basic engine, the small 8. It's just your basic Corvette convertible. Doorbell ringing. 8:15. Doorbell ringing. Hang on, people. Well. My head is cold, pardon me. Come on, wires. Oh. Believe it or not, Gofo. It's my coffee pods. Yeah, it kind of irritates me. A lot of eBayers are starting to ship with Gofo. Thank God I laid the law down with them. Oh, this one right to the side door, rang the bell, guy standing there, little Asian guy. Package. Thank you. It says right on the shipping, right under my address. Delivery side door, not front porch. He actually rang the bell. Yeah, it's a different coffee. I can't remember what this one is. It's another dark roast. But the last 3 or 4 packages that purchases, I'll say, that I made from eBay have been shipped from Gofo. I don't know how they managed to get their foot in the door with eBay. Because I complained to one guy about Gofo. No, it was Uni. And he told me that when the sale was completed, eBay dispatched the package to Uni for pickup. Because Uni, SpeedX, and Gofo are all now connected with eBay. Unless a shipper basically dictates to eBay how they're going to, because I'm still getting packages through the post office or UPS. On a rare occasion, a FedEx. But I've been getting a lot of eBay purchases shipped via Gofo. Because I saved that text message. What the hell was the name of that delivery company? No, I can't find it. Oh, yeah. It's about 3 miles long. Yeah, hello, this is, Lily from Ding Dong Delivery, LLC. We apologize for the repeated delivery issues and for not following your delivery instructions. We understand how frustrating this experience has been. and we take full responsibility for the inconvenience caused. We would like to inform you that some of our drivers have limited English proficiency, which contributed to the misunderstanding of delivery instructions. This is not an excuse, and we are taking corrective action by improving instruction handling and internal communication to ensure your delivery instructions are followed correctly in the future. Thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. We appreciate your patience and understanding. Signed, Lily, Ding Dong Express. Yeah, I saved it. All my friends get a kick out of Ding Dong Express. Ding-a-ling Express. Ding Dong Express, a subsidiary of Coffe. But at least they've got it straightened out. I have not received a package in the wrong place since. And this one, ringing the bell, he could have just put it in the milk chute. Standing there, about 5 foot tall. Package. Thank you. Yeah, every package since has either been in the milk chute or in the side door, in between the doors, or like this guy. Probably because it's so late. Package. And I'm waiting for the weather to get a little better so I can put the banner on the front door. I got the address all set. All I got to do is mount the address board that I got and put that big banner on the front door. I spent money for it. Might as well use it. Not to mention my neighbors will get a kick out of it. Yeah, I was quite shocked, Kathy. I was quite shocked. I mean, they not only ate crow, they ate vulture. And admitting that their drivers hardly understand English. However, they explained to that delivery crew, they got the point across because ever since, although like it says, delivery, milk chute or side door, and then in capitals, not front porch. Because the one package, when he took a picture, you could read it. Not to mention it was right underneath the sign that said, "Don't deliver a package here." And I says to her, look at the instructions. And she read it as clear as day off that package, and the girl I talked to said, we'll get it handled. And the girl I talked to was from Coffe. So I'm sure she called Lily at Ding Dong Express and said, "Hey, dingalings, you're pissing off a customer, and we don't want to hear from him again." And the surprising thing is, like I mentioned, Coffe is a French company. Their corporate headquarters are in France. Now they've got their customer service is a California number. But when you look them up, but I made my point, and they straightened out. Because, as a matter of fact, after like the fourth or fifth package, I called and I thanked them for correcting the problem. So I'm hoping that Coffe relayed that to Ding Dong. Ding Dong. What a name for a delivery company. Ding Dong Express. I wonder if the trucks have bells like the ice cream truck. Ding, 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 ding. Going down the road ringing a bell. Ding, 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 ding. Like the ice cream man used to. Now, they play music. They got, amplifiers and speakers on the trucks. Back in the day, that was one bell that every kid knew what that bell was. You'd hear that ding, 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 ding. Ice cream man. Run in the house with a hammer, bust open your piggy bank. Can I have a creamsicle, please? Give him a handful of pennies. Back in the day. Now all that ice cream is so goddamn expensive. Even in the store. And it's all gotten smaller. God. Last time I bought Klondike bars, I was like, did these things melt? Back in the day, a Klondike bar was, like an inch and a half thick, big square. Now they're half the size for twice the price. Oh, man. I hope they get the ocean spray back in stock. Whoa. I can't act it generic. Oh. They must make theirs out of rotten cranberries. Oh, well, instead of the ice cream man, you had the cocaine man. Matter of fact, every now and then, back in the day, instead of the truck, it was the guy with the three-wheeler. It was like an ice box on wheels, and he pedaled it. Talk about having some legs on him. Pedal up and down the street, ringing the bell on the handlebars. Ching, 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 ching. that was like a little story. Back in the day when I worked for the county, one block up from the title bureau was a hot dog vendor. And I'll tell you, this guy had excellent hot dogs. And he would be on that corner 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Well, 50. He'd take a vacation, but his brother would take over the corner. And I says to him one day, I said, do you really make anything selling hot dogs on a corner like this? And I mean, he had a fancy cart and everything, the hot dog cart. He says, let me tell you something. He says, I've been on this corner 25 years. This is my corner. He said, I've paid off 2 houses, and I've put 3 kids through college, and I pay cash for my cars, and I buy them brand new. Does it answer your question? And I was like, holy shit, selling hot dogs. Put 3 kids through college, and not community college. One went to MIT. One went to Brown. And where'd the third one go? One went to MIT, one went to Brown, and one went to Carnegie Mellon. Those are expensive universities. He put 3 kids through college, paid off 2 houses, and paid cash for every one of his vehicles, selling hot dogs out of a cart on the corner. And I couldn't believe it when he said, I've been doing this 25 years on this corner. This is my corner. And he told me that corner was registered to him with the city. Nobody could infringe on his corner. And boy, I felt sorry for him in the winter. Of course, he would, have a little cardboard or something kind of surround. He had a canvas tarp. But even though it was cold, matter of fact, he had a small little wood step that he would stand on so his feet weren't on the pavement. And he had excellent hot dogs. Believe me, I think I financed one of his cars. But Kathy, he was right at the corner of West 3rd and St. Clair. And the courthouse was there. Matter of fact, before they built the Justice Center, they had the main courthouse, and then they had domestic relations court. And then there was several buildings, multi-story. There'd be people in a line waiting to get dogs. And like I say, the money that I probably financed a brand new Lincoln for him. But he had an excellent product. Matter of fact, you could either get raw onion or sauteed onion. The chili, I don't know where he got the chili from or if he made his own. Because I'd tell him, give me 2 with everything. And it was like 75 cents for a dog at the time. Yeah, 75 cents for a dog or $1 for Polish boy. And he had the best Polish sausage. Oh, my God. But when he told me he paid off 2 houses and put 3 kids through college selling hot dogs, I was in shock. He'd be set up there. He'd get there usually like around 8 o'clock. And by 10 o'clock, he was ready to start selling, and he'd have a line. And he was quick, too. I'll tell you what, that guy could sling dogs, man. Of course, doing it for 25 years. Hell of a nice guy. What the hell was his name? Started with an E. Eddie Earl. Because I'd get a couple of dogs and stand there and eat them and bullshit with them in the nice weather. Every now and then he'd slip me a freebie. Here, on the house. You mean on the cart? Just take the free goddamn Polish sausage, will you? Okay. And of course he had stadium mustard. Well, you could either get yellow mustard or stadium mustard. And Heinz ketchup. No cheap generic crap. But he would never tell me where he bought the hot dogs. Because I says to him, I said, I'd like to get a case. Where do you get your hot dogs from? He said, company secret. Yeah, company secret. I said, company? You're a one-man hot dog vendor. He goes, yep, company secret. Because I said to him, I said, wouldn't you want one of your kids to take over the business? He said, hell no. When I retire, I'm selling the cart, and I'm telling the city, somebody else can have this corner. And the last time I drove downtown, which was probably 8-10 years ago, there was a hot dog guy on that corner. Not him, but of course, with the Justice Center being a stone's throw away, but I would have never in my life thought that they would make that kind of money selling hot dogs. And he would be there until like he'd be starting to close down at 4 o'clock, and by 4:30 he'd be all set to go. He'd go get his car, hook the hot dog cart to the trailer hitch, and drag it home. Because he told me, basically, he would make sure he sold out. And, you know, you're doing it for 25. You can gauge how many hot dogs, you know, the cook put in the cooker. Because he told me, he says, I don't waste nothing. He says, I sell out everything. But he had excellent dogs and excellent Polish sausage. Man. There were times 5 days a week. You would think I'd be sick of looking at hot dogs. But when I get dogs, I get quality. I don't skimp on what I eat. I get quality dogs. Them hot Slovenian sausages are to die for. The Hungarian sausage that I make in the sauerkraut, killer. That's one thing. When it's going in my stomach, it's got to be good. And speaking of stomach, right on cue, I say stomach, and guess who came in the door? The walking belly. You're late. You're usually in here at 8:30. You're late. You give me that look like, just feed me, will you? Oh, last night, he was a trip last night. He had to lay on me. After the massage, he put his head on my chest. Or he lay on my arm. And then my arm would get a cramp in it. I'd be like, come on, let me stretch. Then he'd be all pissed off. You woke me up. Yep, time to play the old outro music. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for helping me adjust the microphone. I'm going to lock these settings in when I shut down tonight, and no touching the microphone after that. So I appreciate the feedback. And we will meet again right here, station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And tomorrow night, we will probably have another guest appearance by the Grumpy Jackalope. And screw you, chattering back there. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good seeing everybody. And now the obligatory 2 see-yas. See you 1. And see you number 2. Bye-bye. My